The Chicago Bears just got some huge and exciting news because the Trey Smith to Chicago rumors are heating up, and this is according to ESPN. This is the type of year where players are rumored to go everywhere, but I actually do see Trey Smith as a fit in Chicago, and he most definitely would help the direction of where this franchise is trying to go. And then on top of that, we have the draft, maybe Ashton Jeanty, so much to talk about there. And then recently, Ben Johnson went on the Colin Cowherd show, so I want to talk about some of the things he said there as well. But before I get into everything, I would really appreciate it if you would drop a like and subscribe. It only takes 5 seconds, plus you can always change your mind. We are on the road to 50,000 subscribers, and with your support, I believe that we can get there super fast. Alright, so according to Jeremy Fowler, some inside the league are watching Chicago. General Manager Ryan Poles, who needs to drastically improve his interior offensive line for new head coach Ben Johnson, who was in Kansas City when the Chiefs drafted him, really wants to bring in Trey Smith, and many teams have him as the top overall free agent. And I mean, it makes sense why a lot of teams want this guy. It's for obvious reasons. But from what I've heard, it really does seem like the Bears are going to make an actual push to go get him. The Chiefs still could choose to extend Trey Smith before free agency begins, but at the end of the day, they can't pay everyone. And if Smith is available, I think it's obvious for several reasons that the Bears need to go all in here. They need to do everything they can to get him if he does hit unrestricted free agency. When I'm looking at this team on paper, and from what we saw last year, the offensive line has a lot to improve on, and I mean a lot. And there is nothing more important to a young and developing quarterback than having time to throw and time to make good decisions without always having to panic. And it's not that any of the specific players on the offensive line are bad, there was just nobody that is really good. So who would have thought that putting a bunch of average NFL offensive linemen on a team together would create a subpar offensive line? Tevin Jenkins has shown some upside, but he can't stay on the field, and even a guy like Braxton Jones could probably buy this team another year. But fixing up this offensive line is not only important for Caleb Williams, but if the Bears with their first round draft pick do decide to take a potential generational talent at running back in Ashton Jeanty, you gotta give the guy some sort of offensive line to work with. Alright, now moving on, let's talk about Ben Johnson. Here were some of the best moments from his interview on the Colin Cowherd show.
It'll carry over here to Chicago. It's not going to be said exactly the same way. I'm not Dan Campbell. It's going to be my own spin on it. But really, that identity and those terms will still apply here as well.
Is it a new offense, or do you take bits and pieces of it because you have a different person playing the position and a different skill set?
It remains to be seen. I don't know Caleb like that quite yet, but I'm really encouraged with what I've seen on tape from him so far from this season. On the opposing sideline, I certainly felt his presence out there. He's got an abundance of talent. I can't wait to get to work with him, but obviously he is a different player and has a different skill set than Jared did. And I'll be excited to see what direction we go. It's going to morph. It's not going to look the same as what it did in Detroit. There are a lot of elements that I do believe in. We want the same things to look different. Different things look the same. Multiplicity. We want the defense on their heels and guessing at all times.
Basically, Ben Johnson on this show was just talking about how excited he was to take over this Bears team. And he talked about how he was going to implement some of the things he learned while he was in Detroit and take them over to this team with a new spin on it. Obviously, it will take time to learn the skill set and type of player that Caleb Williams is, because the help that Caleb needs is going to be way different than Jared Goff, because ultimately, they are different players. He also kind of hinted at the front office improving different areas of the team over this offseason. Obviously, he could not just drop names, but I think you could kind of get a sense at what guys he wanted. I'm honestly so excited to see what Ben Johnson can do for this team, because when he came into town, the first thing he said was prepare to get uncomfortable. He wants to be different, and to get back to Trey Smith, the reason why I think he is such a critical make or break part of the offseason for the Bears is because not only is he an ascending player that plays right guard, but because I don't have any doubt in my mind that he could also play left guard, so he could be a transformative piece. Even if it's not Jeanty with the 10th pick, if the Bears decide to trade back, or if they decide to try to address another need, if they can get a day 2 back like a Henderson or anyone like that, and if you pair it with DeAndre Swift, I think that would significantly bolster this offense, and it wouldn't make Caleb Williams feel like he has to play hero ball any longer. But even last season, with all the struggles the Bears had, there were multiple moments where Caleb Williams showed that he is the future of this franchise. He made plays that we haven't seen a Bears QB make in years, if not decades. And outside of all this, let's talk talk about what the Bears do have to work with at receiver right now, because getting T. Higgins is pretty much out of the picture, and it should be. But right now, it is still DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, and Rome Odunze. It was pretty disappointing to see that none of these guys reached 1,000 yards last year, because before the season, I viewed this unit as a top 5 receiving core in the league, but they just weren't that. Keenan Allen is starting to get older, but I think Rome Odunze is going to become something. He just needs more time to develop as an NFL player and time to develop more chemistry with Caleb Williams. And ultimately, this wide receiving room is heavily affected by the offensive line, because if Caleb Williams isn't settled in and he doesn't have time to make clean throws in the fit, like Drew Dahlman, a center expected to make around $12 million a year, Mekhi Becton, a guard expected to make around $11 million a year, and then I really like defensive tackle Bobby Brown as well. With much of the cap space allocated to offensive linemen, the Bears might miss out on signing a premier pass rusher like Chase Young would be the best move for the Bears. It really does seem like fans are divided on upgrading at left tackle or sticking with Braxton Jones. Personally, if there's an opportunity to upgrade to a premium position like left tackle, you do it. Kelvin Banks Jr. won the Lombardi Award for the top offensive lineman in college football and possesses all the athletic traits to become an elite tackle. If the Bears truly believe in Caleb Williams, making a bold move and drafting Banks would be a clear sign of that. And continuing the trend of drafting offensive linemen, if Joni Savanea were available in the second round, it would be a no-brainer for the Bears. Standing at 6'5" and 330 pounds, his ability to excel using his immense frame to punish defenders will make a lot of Bears fans happy, including Caleb Williams himself. A day one starter with a ton of potential, Savanea could become a staple of the Bears offensive line for years to come. Plus, he played tackle for the Arizona Wildcats, but is viewed as a guard in the NFL, so he could provide a lot of versatility up front. Also, LT Overton has exceptional athleticism for his size at 6'5" and 283 pounds, and can line up in various techniques across the defensive line. There's a golden opportunity for Overton to win the starting pass rusher role opposite of Montez Sweat, and he has the tools to win the job. There really are so many things the Bears can do and ways they can go this offseason, and I'm curious to hear what you guys think they should do in the comments below. That's really all I have to say for this video. Thank you all so much if you made it to this point, and if you enjoyed and haven't yet, please be sure to drop a like and subscribe, because your support truly does mean the world. And also, let me know what you would like to see next, and until then, I will see you all later.